The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to Talk Time with Val. I came on because I got to explain what happened. Val originally wasn't going to do a show tonight, and Paul graciously offered me and him to do the show for her, and she said sure. Well, Paul got drunk, couldn't do the show. So I should have played an old Val show, but I didn't. I played one of mine. So I fucked up there. And, well, anyways, Val come on during the middle of the broadcast of the show and said Joe called her and he was pissed. And then she wanted to go live. And I says, well, I'm doing this. Wouldn't you wait? She says, no, I want to go live now. And she was quite pissed. Long story short, I went live. She was going on, and I thought she was talking about me. My mouth dropped. I didn't know what to do, what to say. And she went on and on. When I realized she wasn't talking about me, I finally calmed down and hit the record button. So you guys lost a good 5 minutes of her ranting. But this was like the tail end of it, and we'll take it from there.
Cries because her neighbor has twins and treats them like shit. Cries because 16-year-olds get pregnant without trying. Cries because she's an amazing aunt. Cries because she's already picked out names. Cries because there's an empty room in her house. Cries because there is an empty space in her body. Cries because she has so much to offer. Cries because he'd be a great dad. Cries because she would be a great mother, but isn't. You don't know what somebody is going through. So for you to stick your pointy-ass little nose in somebody else's business and trigger all kinds of emotional pain for them because you feel like it's your business to tell somebody it's time for them to have children, well, you need to keep your trap shut, because people like you should not be procreating anyway. People who have no common sense, no decency, no humanity. Yes, I said common sense and decency. How about people who weren't raised with proper behavior? People who think it's okay to, say crap like that, do crap like that, inflict harm through carelessness. In my personal opinion, you shouldn't be breeding. That's how it is. Doesn't sit right with you, does it? That's my opinion. I shouldn't ram it down your throat. Well, then keep your well-meaning bullshit to yourself. Does it make more sense now, Jimmy?
Yes, it is.
Yeah? Let's break this in commercial and go pay some bills. We'll come back after these messages.
Are you hangry? Know the signs. Uncontrollable yelling.
Why aren't you egg rolls?
Hallucination.
Sushi.
Pants discomfort.
I hate you, pants.
Hangry. It can happen to anyone. Fortunately, there's E24, the app that tells hunger to shut up.
Egg rolls. Thanks, Snoop.
Eat 24. In my medical opinion, it's the best way to order food online, baby.
Hey everyone, as you all know, summer is now here and everyone wants sexy summer skin. I'm partnered with Rodan & Fields, the #2 premium skincare company in the US. We have some fun treats for you guys. Check out my website at www.ewinters.myrandf.com. But wait, there's more. Join as a preferred customer to get 10% off and free shipping for all these amazing products that I'm currently obsessing over. Or email me for a free mini facial or free consultation at ewintersrf@gmail.com to get your sexy summer glow.
And now, another fresh insight from Roger Berkowitz, President and CEO of Legal Seafoods.
If your wife can't take the time to test your tuna for purity, then why should you take the time to come to a complete stop before letting her out of the car? Just saying.
Legal Seafoods. If it isn't fresh, it isn't legal.
Hi, my name is Amrita Rupnarayan, aka Valanissima. Amrita means ambrosia or nectar of the gods. Valanissima means the of divine knowledge. Join me every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern for a night talk with Joe Rocks, exclusively on TuneIn Satellite on Armed Radio Global Network, where we will discuss food, culinary art, baking, cooking, food preparation and presentation, bringing you a little bit of the divine knowledge so you can create your own nectar of the gods. Hi, and welcome back to this week's episode of Talk Time with Val. It just occurred to me that I'm on a new platform tonight, first time. I'm live on Twitter, and this is a night where I'm going to just be bitter and, alright, let's turn it into something constructive. So basically what we're talking about is the fact that people think that their opinions matter so much that they have the right to comment on a woman's body, on her womb, what she can and can't do with it, how she should live her life. You would not believe some of the things people say to women. Like, oh, you don't have kids yet? Oh, motherhood is the greatest thing in the world, If it was, if God had it, they'll say things like, oh, it's the greatest thing in the world, the best, the greatest blessing. I feel so blessed. It takes a special person to be a mother. It takes this, blah, 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 and they go on and on. I know. Okay. Then, oh, you don't have kids? That's all right. It's, it is what it is. God knows who to choose to be a mom. You know what? Fuck you. Really? Seriously? That's something you'll say? Because quite frankly, what makes you think that you're so uber qualified to be a mother? The fact that your egg can actually receive sperm, the fact that your body has the right hormonal quantities, the fact that your womb was, breed mare worthy enough to actually create a viable child and you could squeeze it out, that makes you so capable of being a mother. Oh, what made you capable of being a mother? The fact that you, didn't get any education, decided to coast along on your looks and sluttiness, and as a result, bagged yourself a rich husband or somebody who could, whatever, because God forbid you have to provide for yourself. And then you sit around with no opinion in your head, believing crap because you refuse to do any research and try to figure things out. Have a nanny raise your kids because God forbid you have to get your little fingers dirty or take time away from the things that, enrich your life. Like, I don't know, boozing it up with your friends at 5 in the afternoon while somebody else takes care of your baby. Yeah, that's a mother. You really have, yeah, it's your place to talk. That makes sense. So, turning to your friend and saying, hey, it's just a baby shower that you're invited to. Let's go, It'll be fun. We can mock all the presents, yada, yada, yada. The thing is, if you're a friend or a family member and you actually cared, instead of having your... You know what? That's what it comes down to, isn't it? You don't actually care, do you? Jimmy, you know what really pisses me off?
What's that?
People who claim that they're your family. Like in-laws, for example, who have not a clue of who you are, don't care about who you are, don't want to know anything about you, because they are so narcissistic and self-involved that everything becomes about them. I've mentioned that I had surgery a few times on this show, right? I've mentioned other things. It's my thing to share. But to have somebody give out personal details of that, you know what I mean? Intricate little details. Random strangers that I do not know. And then have those strangers, bump into you somewhere. And then casually talk about your medical history. And they don't even have the correct things or the facts. You wonder why, and then you realize it's because your mother-in-law decided that it was her right to say whatever she wanted to because everything is about her. So she had to go and tell everybody how scared she was. She didn't even bother to visit you in the hospital or even visit you often until like 6 days later because, she couldn't take time out of her schedule. But she was so worried and so whatever that she went and told everybody, and she wanted to hold like a prayer meeting that never materialized or anything. You know what I'm saying? So worried and so caring. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm at my wit's end with people who are so narcissistic and self-involved that they can't see beyond their own opinion or beyond their own need for attention. And something else? Little things bother me a lot. Sometimes. Big things bother me even more so. And I will tell you something. I am brown. People, for some reason, assume that I am Hawaiian at times, or they'll assume that I am, Arabic or something. I don't know. They make assumptions. And I had somebody actually tell me at John's office the other day that they wanted to see my ID downstairs in the building. This is not even a person who is security or anything at Jimmy. They asked me what I was doing there. I was waiting downstairs in the lobby for John, right? And this random person who works on a different floor was concerned because I was waiting for my husband in the lobby and I had no right to be there, according to them. And then they're like, I need to see your ID. I'm calling the police. I'm like, you're calling police because I'm sitting in a lobby? And they're, literally said, well, we can't trust your kind being around, especially with a big purse. You could have a bomb in there. How does that sound to you, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Even the cop wouldn't have done that.
Random strangers. Do you know a woman actually said to me that she wanted to buy hollow point bullets to put my kind out of their misery to defend her family? And I was like, excuse me? And I walked away. You can't talk to people like that, right? This is random stranger. I was at the counter about 6 feet away from her in a store. And she made that comment. Told the clerk at the counter She was ordering bullets. It was like she needs to get hollow point bullets so that her kind. She looked directly at me. I'm like 5 or 6 feet away from her at a counter. But that's okay. That's the America we live in.
I guess they say when the white supremacist or whatever groups they're coming out.
You know what I saw?
If that's the bad side of this.
You know what I saw a couple days ago? At the grocery store.
What's that?
So, this lady looked like she had a really weird tan. I realized what she was doing was wearing blackface. In the middle of St. Louis, a white woman wearing blackface. You know how racially diverse St. Louis is, right?
Yeah.
So to do that would be really offensive to a lot of people. And there are some people who can't keep their temper and will react violently, correct?
You get an asshole in every crowd.
No, but her doing that, walking around like that, it'll be very offensive to some people. But here's the thing. Instead of doing it like, you know how they used to have those anti-meme blackface parodies? Racist against black people. Now they have what they call the jihadist parody or whatever it is, where it's brown people. So paints her face like that, literally wraps a towel on her head and walks around saying things. But here's the difference. Whereas walking around St. Louis and saying something about black people and doing that, no problem. Walking around and mocking the Islamic family who's shopping or whatever, they're not going to tell you anything. They're going to put their head down, ashamed and scared and worried, and hurry to their car and get in and be afraid. At least my neighbors who live, 3 doors down from me. There's 2 families. The third and fourth door down, and then their mother-in-law lives 2 doors down from them. And they're Islamic. Their kids wear the hijab. She's actually in med school. The other daughter is studying to become a pharmacist. They're nice people. He works for Charter Communications. He's an accounts analyst. He's a teacher for special needs children. They're really nice people.
Would you say they're Muslims?
They are Muslim, yes.
This is like when we're at war with Germany. You know what I mean? All the Germans got shit when they lived in this country for the same reason.
Except I'm not Muslim, so why am I getting shit for it? Because people are racist?
You looked the part. Hey, I look Spanish. I was walking down the street in California and they're talking Spanish to me and I had no idea what they were saying.
Okay, so I get that, but I'm saying, how do I look Muslim? Because I'm brown?
I don't know.
People who assume women are Muslims will say, oh, they're covered from head to toe. Have you seen my pictures, Jimmy? I let my puppies breathe. My hair, always loose and flowing, yes?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you're not Muslim. You could pass for one. Put it that way. Just like I could pass for Spanish.
I can also pass for being Polynesian.
Right.
I can also
That's just
pass
what you
for
can
being
pass
Hawaiian. And I'm Indian. I can pass for being all kinds of things, just not Caucasian. So, if I can pass for it, that means that I should be randomly attacked by bigoted people. Do you know, the other day, you know Kimberly Nix Murray, right?
Yeah.
So she has some people on her friends list who are just, like, I don't know if they're fans or friends or family or whatever. One of them contacted me and, basically saying some things. I told Kimberly about it. She blocked the person. But there are other people out there. Like, I know John has friends who are on his Facebook, whatever. I have, like, Caucasian, Asian, Indian, black friends. I mean, I have friends of all ethnicities. And they have friends who are just racist, bigoted idiots. Hell, I have people that I'm not related to by blood, but apparently related to, that are racist, bigoted idiots.
If you look for racism, you're going to find it everywhere.
You think I'm looking for racism when I'm at a barbecue and somebody refuses to touch the plate that there's a stack of plates. So you pick up one plate and nobody wants to touch that. That person doesn't want to touch that stack. They want to open another stack because it's been contaminated.
And
that's racist.
You don't think the Muslims making Jews cross the street because they don't want to get filthy? You don't think that's part of it?
I'm not talking. You just said if I'm looking for racism. I'm not.
Like I said, you'll find it in everything. Any argument,
so
any
you're
dispute,
telling me,
you'll find racism.
So you are telling me that I'm looking for racism in a family function where I get treated like a servant? You're telling me that being told in here, right there, having them tell their child in front of you, within your hearing, that that person is not right in the head, and that's why they married somebody who's not white. But you don't have to look at that person. You don't have to be around them. In fact, why don't you go and play on that side and don't touch anything that they touch by mistake? That's not racism?
Yeah, that's definitely racism.
Yeah. Listen, there are a lot of really amazingly nice people here.
I've been in all-black neighborhood because I happen to have a black girlfriend from Massachusetts, went to Georgia. I know what it's like to be.
Yeah.
A guy come in the room, he filled the doorway, saw me, his eyes lit up. And the brother-in-law just comes running, no, he's one of the good ones.
Yeah. That's
you
the
know
thing.
What I mean?
And that's another thing. That I hate that phrase. They're one of the good ones.
Exactly.
I hate that phrase. What does that mean? That everybody else
they distrust everyone until you give them a reason to trust you.
Okay. And you know what else? Oh, like they expect you to actually laugh with them. Like, oh, but you know how they are. You know how your people are. You know what I'm saying? They say some stereotype, and I look at them and I'm saying, excuse me? No, every Indian person doesn't have a degree in physics and math and engineering. No, my marriage was not arranged. No, my sister's marriage was not arranged. We have lives, we get to make choices, we get to do everything. No, I don't have chaperones on dates. No, my husband did not have to pay 2 goats, 3 cows, and a horse to get me. And people think those things are funny, and they'll make jokes, and then they'll be like, oh, you're taking it too serious. Well, how else am I supposed to take it when you look at me and you describe what you think is rural culture and make this statement about, goats and sheep being exchanged, me being sold? That's a disrespect to me. It's a disrespect to my parents. It's a disrespect to my husband. Because you assume that you know so much from watching what? Have you ever picked up a book and read anything? Have you ever interacted with somebody from that culture? And then you go around saying these things as if it's gospel law. The complete and total truth. What?
Ignorance.
But then they go around saying these things as if it's the truth. Well, that's how the culture is. That's how they do things. Or you heard from somebody who heard from somebody else who heard from somebody else that this is the truth, so you go about repeating it. I heard, I've read something recently. Somebody said, it was in a post, that that the Quran allows for Islamic men to have goats as their sexual partners, and the Quran says that that's okay, and they keep saying it. Show me where it says that. I would love to see it. I really would. If you're gonna repeat something like that and you're gonna say something, just show me where you saw it. That's all I'm asking. That's not too much to ask for, is it, Jimmy?
Verification.
That's all I'm asking for. But of course, if I open my mouth and ask for verification, you know what I get? Oh, you're just a towel head lover. You're just, you're fucking Muslim sympathizer. And I get attacked. No, I'm asking for verification. I can see both sides of an issue. All I want is to know that I'm not just, mindless sheep following a crowd, right? I'm pissed off. I'm fed up. Getting back to this womb issue, which again is none of your goddamn business, right? Yeah. There's somewhere in this world, there is a woman who is 34. She has 5 children, and people say to her, 5? Good Lord, I hope you're done. And then they laugh, because those types of comments are funny. The woman laughs too, but not in earnest. She changes the subject as she always does and gives the disrespect a pass. Just another day alone, she cries. You know what? I'm fed up of turning the other cheek, Jimmy. I turn the other cheek to people all the time with their insensitivity and their stupidity. And it's, I've been thrust into a world where trailer trash language has become the norm, where in order to survive sensibly, I've had to lose any refinement and dignity. I've been thrust into a world where innocence has been stripped from my eyes, where I think that you should treat people with compassion, dignity, humanity, love, and respect. And now I think you should treat people with distrust until they prove their trust.
Welcome to America.
That's horrible. It is horrible that I'm thrust into a world, into situations where I can't just, with goodwill, offer somebody a coat or a drink of water or something. Now, I used to see no problem with it, giving somebody a meal. I had no problem with a lot of things. And now, okay, let me give you an example. Back home in Trinidad, John and I were driving up my street, right? Or driving up a street that was about 3 or 4 streets away from my street. We're heading home to my house. And there's a school not too far away from where we were, and some kids were walking, and they had a glass bottle, like a soda bottle, a glass soda bottle, and they put firecrackers in the bottle and lit it. And of course the bottle exploded, sending sprays of glass all over the place, yes? They thought it was so hysterical. Oh, I was
going to say, I never thought of that.
It's the stupidest thing in the world to do. John says he did it as a kid too. And I looked at him and I said, really? Because that's just irresponsible.
No, it's danger. It's adrenaline. That's what it's all about.
Okay. But at the same time, there were other people passing. There were cars passing with windows down. They could have killed somebody.
Collateral damage.
Oh, but this is Trinidad, not America. So, I not only yelled at those boys, I went up to their school, talked to their principal, got their parents involved, and they got a good whooping from their mothers, I tell you what. They got in trouble because I was like, how old are you? 12 and 13 years old? What, you have no common sense? You don't realize that glass could have hurt you, could have hurt somebody else? And I'm not talking about putting an eye out. I'm talking about puncturing a tire, getting into somebody's neck, flying, whatever. You didn't care. That's how you were raised. No, it was something that they were doing as a prank. But you see, back home, a stranger on the street can say something, and children will be like, yes, and they will listen. Because, I mean, those boys could have run, right? Or they could have lied. I would never have recognized them in the school, been able to point them out, right? Instead, they told me their names, they told me where they lived, they told me who their principal was, they told me, you know what I'm saying? Because they weren't raised to be hooligans and hoodlums. They were being children who were just behaving badly. But the thing is here, if I were to stop and tell a child something, their parents would come outside and say, who the fuck are you to try to tell my child what to do? In fact, John, there in my culture, said to me, it's not your business. Why are you saying? And I turned on him so fast. I said, of course it's my business. This is a child. This is my street. This is my country. It is my business when I see somebody doing something that's potentially dangerous and harmful to others to step in and say something. So if they can't be reformed, then you call the police. But you don't call the police on children when nobody was harmed if you think there's a possibility that the child can be helped. John says, no, you don't do that at all. He said, back home, you better not do stuff like that. I told him, I'm my own person. I will do what I want. He said, well, you'll get shot for it.
This was a better country when people stayed out of each other's businesses.
So you're telling me that I was wrong to tell those children that what they did was wrong? And to inform their parents and their principal. I was wrong.
You should have went to the parents, not the principal. That's like making assholes out of them and out of their friends.
They were wearing their school uniform.
Like I said, you shouldn't have went to the school. You should have went to the parents.
Well, in order to get to the parents, we had to go through the principal. I wasn't going to go show up at somebody's house. I didn't know these people, right?
I don't know. Like I said, I've done dumb shit before. And I've had people got caught and went through the same thing you're doing in front of the principal and all that shit.
Oh, it had nothing to do with anybody else in the school, just the principal.
It still means your parents come in.
Yes.
You're in the principal's office.
No, actually, we did not meet in the principal's office. They came to my office.
On the bus going to school, there was a cop directing traffic. I threw an egg at him out of the bus. When I got to my school, they were all waiting for me. And they brought me in the principal's office. They waited for my mother and father to show up. They were pissed.
Mm-hmm.
And
your parents were pissed because
I was slapped in the wrist. He told me to pay for the cleaning his uniform. I was more than happy.
That was it?
That was it.
You didn't get a hiding?
Get a what?
Spanking, a hiding.
No. Oh, I did from my father, yeah. With the belt. That's what I always got. But it took... They were 50 years older than me. You know what I mean? So he tried his hardest. You know, I would scream with him when it was appropriate, but it really wasn't hurting.
Right. Well, nowadays, if little Johnny Scumbag decides to knock your mailbox over, run over your cat, spray paint your wall, spit on you as you're passing, and you say anything to anybody but the police, their parents, Mr. and Mrs. Scumbag, will step out and say, little Johnny didn't do that, or he had a reason to. Did you see, like, oh, you know, he has an excuse. Well, she shouldn't have been walking there, so that's why he spit on her. Or he wants to exercise his artistic rights, so he can spray paint wherever he wants. Or whatever. You get what I'm saying?
Well, that falls back on you stick up for your family no matter what. You know what I mean? That's what that falls under.
No, I'm talking about parents sticking up for a child for bad behavior.
Sticking up for their children.
Did you ever see Krampus? Did you ever see Krampus?
No, I didn't.
Okay. There's a part in the movie where one of the cousins, right, the little girl, grabs a letter that the little boy, her cousin, wrote to Santa Claus, and at the dining table with the adults right there. His mother was not in the room, but his uncle, his dad, his aunt, the grandmother, and the great aunt were all there. With his sister, other kids as well. And she starts mocking him about Santa. And she's like reading his letter. Not one adult said anything to her. She did not get in trouble. And then later on, right? I mean, she basically, they're demon spawn. They painted a cat. They don't care about other people's feelings. There's no kindness and compassion to them, right? And the thing is, how can you expect your children to grow into decent human beings when you don't teach them kindness and compassion? And when they do something wrong, instead of punishing them or teaching them right, you just say, you defend them to everybody else. You know what? Yes, you stick up for your family, but it's not a matter of sticking up for your family with somebody else. No, if they do something wrong, sticking up for them is teaching them something right. It's not letting them get away with something wrong. What you're doing then is enabling bad behavior, and you're actually doing them more harm than good. So tough love, right? There's a woman, calls the police. Okay, let me start over. There's this woman, guy knocks on her door. She opens the door, guy is dressed like a gangster, comes in, asks for her son Jimmy. She's like, what do you want him for? This is this really sweet, let me describe this lady. She's like kind, loving, serene, sweet, kindly old lady, right? The guy who is dressed like a gangster is actually an undercover cop. He says, we have a job for Jimmy. She's like, who is we? So he gives the name of a crime boss. She's like, how much are you going to pay? He names a sum. And she has this cunning look in her eyes, and he starts thinking, oh, she's in on it, right? So she starts telling him, Jimmy's not there. They can get another kid for that price. He said, no, they want Jimmy because he has skills. She's like, all right. She's going to get some tea, and she'll think about it for a minute. But Jimmy's will be back. He didn't actually leave. That's okay. He goes into the kitchen, comes back with the tea for them, offers him some tea. She keeps him talking, and then they has she loses her temper with him. Finally, because he's pushing her, because he's thinking she's in on this, right? On his scams and schemes and stuff. And she says to him, I was sending Jimmy to my brother's house. His farm. He'd work hard, he'd do his thing there. But you know what I realized? Some like you, you're gonna find another boy to do it. In fact, if Jimmy chooses to do it, he's gonna keep doing it. He's gonna come back and he's gonna keep doing it because you're gonna give him opportunities to make easy money. And I didn't raise him the right way, apparently. So I'm gonna do the best thing I can now. And she's like, I called the police, they're on their way. You can try to escape, but I can see them out through the window right now. And the cover cop gets up, runs out the door, faces off with the cops, gets out of the site and tells them, when they ask, did you get him? He says, no. He's like, he's down on the farm with his uncle. And the captain asks him, damn, he's out of state, so we can't do anything. Okay. What did you learn? He's like, I learned that that's the best place for him. It's like this mother was willing to sacrifice her child and do everything. I mean, she sacrificed everything else, but at this point she was willing to call the police because she realized that sparing the rod was spoiling the child. That, to me, is loving your family. Doing everything you can to help them, not just to help them get out of sticky situations, but to help them be better people. That is what family is about. You want to hide for them? You want to lie for them? You want to cheat, steal, cover up for them? Then it just makes you scum. It makes you unethical scum. Worse than that, it means you don't actually love them. What you care about is your family name more than the person. Because if you cared about the person, you would recognize that that's bad behavior, and you would A, attempt to help them rectify the bad behavior, or B, if you couldn't personally do it, allow them to face up to the what they did. But if you don't punish a child when they're young, they're going to grow up to be criminals, because you know what? There's no consequences to their actions. These little hoodlums grow up to be hooligans and criminals, and it's allowed. We have to break for some commercials. Jimmy, we have to pay some bills, man. And remind me. Alright, when we come back, we're going to talk about the 34-year-old woman with 5 children and why people should stop running a blasted mouth, because it's none of their goddamn business. Right, Jimmy?
Sounds good to me.
After these messages.
Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise, playing in the street, gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face, you big disgrace, kicking your can all over the place.
Are you hangry? Know the signs. Uncontrollable yelling.
Why aren't you egg rolls?
Hallucination.
Sushi.
Pants discomfort.
I hate you, pants.
Hangry. It can happen to anyone. Fortunately, there's E24, the app that tells hunger to shut up.
Egg rolls. Thanks, Snoop.
E24. In my medical opinion, it's the best way to order food online, baby.
Hey there, all you creepy people. This is Kevin Wayne from Portland, Oregon. You're listening to Armed Radio, home of the big guns.
Hey Dan, how's the day going so far?
My day couldn't be better. You pull up less than 3 minutes after I open my Lyft app, and how do you greet me? With a kind hello? Just delightful.
Great. Care for a cookie?
A cookie? A chocolate chip cookie? You know, I'd love one.
Sure.
Hey, let me ask you something. How did you know I love this song?
I mean, come on, it's the Cold War kids. Everybody loves them.
Whoa! Who taught this guy how to merge? That was a fantastic merge!
Couldn't agree more.
That's it? That's all this costs? What's this thing running on? Smiles and high fives? You son of Mike, I love you!
Thanks. Have a great day.
Lyft. Driving you happy. Just download and go.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Talk Time with Val. Anybody who's listening, if you're new to the show, I'll let you know something. This is not usually how my show runs. I'm usually, Jimmy, how do you describe it? Well prepared, polite.
Oh yeah, that's it.
So tonight, I'm pretty much just letting it hang. Because I figure if the world's going to slap me in the face, then I'm allowed to fight back sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's see. We're talking about a 34-year-old woman. 5 children and people to say to her, 5? Good Lord, I hope you're done. And then they laugh because those types of comments are funny. The woman laughs too, but not in earnest. She changes the subject as she always does and gives the disrespect a pass. Just another day. Alone, she cries. Cries because she's pregnant with another and feels like she has to hide the joy. Cries because she always wanted a big family and doesn't see why people seem so disturbed by it. Cries because she has no siblings and felt profoundly lonely as a child. Cries because her granny had 12 and she'd love to be just like her. Cries because she couldn't imagine life without her children, but people treat her like they're a punishment. Cries because she doesn't want to be pitied. Cries, because people assume that this isn't what she wanted. Cries because they assume she's just irresponsible. Cries because they believe that she had no say. Cries because she feels misunderstood. Cries because she's tired of defending her private choices. Cries because she and her husband are perfectly capable of supporting their family, but that doesn't seem to matter. Cries because she's tired of the funny comments. Cries because she minds her own business. Cries because she wishes others would mind theirs. Cries because sometimes she doubts herself and wonders if she should have stopped 2 kids ago. Cries because others are quick to offer criticism and slow to offer help. Cries because she's sick of the scrutiny. Cries because she's not a sideshow. Cries because people are rude. Cries because so many people seem to have opinions on her own private life. Cries because all she wants to do is live in peace. I have a friend. She is an amazing person. She is sweet, she's smart, she's funny, she is completely brilliant. I mean, this woman is so intelligent. She can sit down and discuss the psychological propensities of Niccolo Machiavelli's Il Principe and do a comparative study on that with the essence of humanity in Paradise Lost. We have had conversations like you would not believe. She gives me insight into, I mean, I'm a very insightful person. I love literature. I love analyzing stuff. And quite frankly, she gives me insight on so many things that she is like one of my favorite people to discuss a book with. Whether it's, Wolverine or X-Men, whatever, or Batman comics. We actually, Batman's really deep into the psychological, but you know what I mean. Whether it's something like that or, Lovejoy or it really doesn't matter. It could be Aristotle, Plato, Nietzsche, Kafka, or it could be a fan fiction novel that has a tiny cult following or no following at all that we found on some message board somewhere. She's one of my favorite people to talk to because she is so brilliant. Anyway, she is mixed race. She has some Chinese, some African, some Indian, some white. She's so diverse that you look at her and you have no idea what she is, honestly. But she is beautiful, and she has this thick, lush, dark, curly hair that comes in these spirals. Like, it looks like, honestly, a frizzy mop sometimes, except when she's well coiffed, and then she just looks completely elegant. She has a petite nose, but wide mouth. Bright, sparkling eyes. My friend, let's call her Jen. Brilliant, smart, funny. She has a gorgeous husband who loves her to bits and a twin sister. Twins run in her family. In fact, they run so much in her family that she has 3 sets of twins herself. You heard me, 3 sets. 3 sets of identical twins. People look at her. She didn't take any fertility meds, drugs, nothing, whatever. And they're like, they make comments. You know what? She and her husband can more than afford it. They own their own businesses. She works from home doing their accounting and stuff for their businesses because she has 6 kids to take care of. And yet she feels like people look at her like she's going to be on welfare. Because, and here's the funny thing, right? She was at the movies. And she has these kids with her. And, from behind them in the line, they could hear a lady talking. And the kids are all wrapped up. And everybody's just hanging out. The kids are all wrapped up. And, she's talking to them. And she's like, okay, you need to get organized with what do you want when we get in to get the concessions or whatever. And the lady makes a comment about, well, they're on welfare and that's why they have so many kids. I don't know who the lady was talking about. I don't know if she was talking about Jen or if she was talking about somebody else or just making a general statement, but I've heard that statement so many times. Oh, well, of course they'll have kids, they'll have extra kids because the government will give them more money. I've heard people say that a lot. Well, Jen flipped her script, man. She sent the kids inside with their older siblings, and she said she turned on the lady and gave her a piece of her mind. And she was not nice about it. She basically dehumanized the lady, pointed out the tacky clothes she was wearing, the shoes she was wearing, the fact that she can't afford her own shit and yet she wants to make comments and make assumptions, etc., etc. She wasn't nice about it. Not at all. And I'll tell you something about Jen. You don't want to get on her bad side because she will cut you to the soul if she has something to say. She tells me all the time that I'm way too nice. I need to learn to toughen up. I'm learning, girlie. I'm learning. But anyway, people make these assumptions. She defended herself. She could not enjoy her movie that she had just paid X amounts of money for with her kids. She went back home. She was mad. She told me about it. She was mad. And then she started to cry. Yep, she started to cry. Started to cry because it wasn't the first time she had heard a comment like that. Started to cry because she has two beautiful girls, the oldest, two gorgeous sets of boys. And you know what? Like I said, they're well off. They have enough money to send each of the kids to college through their PhDs and not worry about it. And she wants another girl. She wanted another baby. Why shouldn't she have another baby? If they can afford it, their kids are well loved, they're, good together. Why shouldn't she? But people made comments, and she feels like everybody will judge her, so she shouldn't have a kid. Another kid. What did I say to her? I said, are you sure you're going to have enough time and energy? What if they were twins or triplets? She's like, yeah, they would manage. They do have help. And they have friends like me, and of course she has her sister. It was constructive. When it comes down to it, nobody's business. If she wants to have a kid, and you're her friend, and I am your friend, then I love you, and if you want to have a kid, girl, I'll be there with you. I'll be there for you. Like I said, I don't know a better mother. You are brilliant and funny, and you will teach those. Your kids are, honestly, they're freaking, I don't know, cyborg angels, tell you the truth. I've never seen children so well organized and happy and sweet and loving, unless, of course, you count me as a child, but I've never seen such perfect children. So, yeah, people like you should be having more kids. And it's nobody's business to tell you different. Anybody wants to say something? Well, let them say to, they're soft in the marrow because it has nothing to do with you. Don't take on their baggage. Okay. Another woman, 40 years old, has one child. People say to her, only one? You never wanted any more? I'm happy with my one, she says calmly. A rehearsed response she's given more times than she can count. Quite believable. No one would ever suspect that alone she cries. Cries because her one pregnancy was a miracle. Cries because her son still asks for a brother or sister. Cries because she always wanted at least 3. Cries because her second pregnancy had to be terminated to save her life. Cries because her doctor says it would be high risk. Cries because she's struggling to care for the one she has. Cries because sometimes one feels like two. Cries because her husband won't even entertain the thought of another. Cries because her husband died and she hasn't found love again. Cries because her family thinks one is enough. Cries because she's deep into her career and can't step away. Cries because she feels selfish. Cries because she still hasn't lost the weight from her first pregnancy. Cries because her postpartum depression was so intense. Cries because she can't imagine going through that again. Cries because she has body issues and pregnancy only exacerbates it. Cries because she still battles bulimia. Cries because she had to have a hysterectomy. Cries because she wants another baby, but can't have it. These women are everywhere. They are our neighbors, our friends, our sisters, our co-workers, our cousins. They have no use for our advice or opinions. Their rooms are their own. Let's respect that. This article was written by Nadira and Gail. I posted it on my Facebook wall, my pages. I think you guys should go check it out. It is very powerful and beautiful. I think it's quite lovely, actually. There is a lot that Nadira and Gail has written. There is something else. I'm trying to find it here. Something else I read from her that she tweeted, and I love that. It was, she isn't cute or fun or exciting. She doesn't play well with others. I typically act like she's not there. That is the problem. If you think, I don't know, I don't even know what to say. Don't pretend somebody's not there because they don't keep in mind, they don't keep in line of what you think they should be or shouldn't be. Don't be that person. Just, I don't know. Why can't people just be nicer? Have some compassion, have some dignity. Treat other people like you want to be treated. Some respect. Kindness. Kindness so bad? Is kindness so hard? Why is kindness so hard? I mean, it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. Alright. I'm not sure what's going on because usually after my show we have the beautiful Amy Chiafalo who comes on with Rock Talk at 10 p.m. Eastern. But my producer informed me that Amy was coming on a little bit early tonight. Welcome back, Jimmy.
How you doing?
Good. Did you get everything sorted?
Yep.
And Amy's coming on earlier than usual?
Right.
Okay. So that's not an issue. Amy will be on in a couple of minutes, actually. We needed the time slot, so, you know, that's what we do. We're one big happy family here on Armed Radio Global. And I want you guys to stay tuned to listen to the beautiful, the gorgeous Amy Chiafalo with Rock Talk. She has great taste in music. She always has such a great lineup. And I'm just guessing here, but it is my belief that since we just lost one of the greats in music, at least to some people, me included, because Careless Whisper is like one of my favorite all-time songs. actually might be having some sort of tribute tonight on the show. I don't know if that's a fact, but I'm hoping it is, so I definitely will be tuning in, and I hope that you guys tune in as well. Until next week for another episode of Talk Time with Val. It will be scintillating. It will be good, and I promise I will have my head together and not be really, really angry next week. Until then, I wish you a good night and safe week, and blessed be.